Hello, this is Ashley LAM, and this is my final project for product innovation. I'll be focusing this project on Boeing, my current workplace. For the big idea, this proposal is for a change management initiative that will work to eliminate cardboard boxes while developing reusable shipping containers that will help Boeing reach our company mission to become a global industrial champion, adopt more sustainable practices, reduce cost, and improve our manufacturing processes. To review our agenda for today's pitch, I'll start off with some company background, review my sphere of influence and the project scope. I'll talk about the circular economy, the action plan for this initiative. I'll review a job mapping exercise I used, as well as the outcome statements from that exercise, the voice of the customer, and the Pug matrix, and then also prototypes for the project and cost associated. Starting up with company background for Boeing. Boeing is an extremely large company, and in 2018, we had over $100 billion in revenue. Our products and our services support customers in more than 150 countries around the world, and we have contracts with more than 20,000 suppliers and partners. Across the enterprise, Boeing employs more than 150,000 employees across different sites in more than 65 countries. For this project, I'll be focusing solely on the 737 program within the commercial airlines department. For 737, we have carried over 30 billion passengers. Our fleet has almost 10,000 airplanes, and at any given time, there is almost 3,000 aircraft in the air. For this project, I'm focusing on the wing system installation shop. This is the shop that I currently manage and support. And within this shop, I'm focusing on shipping containers that hold commodities, including wire bundles, hydraulic plumbing, and also various mechanical parts. My geographical focus for this initiative includes just our local suppliers in the Puget Sound. So moving into the circular economy, really the goal in this shift is first gaining buy-in from not only leadership, but also working to educate employees on the value of the circular economy and trying to move away from a linear way of thinking. Practicing this new mindset by working inclusively to innovate new products that support sustainability will help us eliminate waste at every stage of production. So why does Boeing need to implement this change? Well, the problem statement that I came to is that within my shop, we have various part issues from suppliers ranging from large amounts of waste and also dunnage that comes as a result from our traditional shipping packages using typical cardboard shipping containers. So the benefit that I'll see from switching to a more roadable shipping container is that we'll be able to add value for our suppliers, our internal customers, meaning the shop floor employees, and we'll be able to enable flow reduction and work to really change employees' mindsets about waste to more of a reuse mindset. We'll also be able to reduce our contribution to landfills, as well as costs associated with removing various waste and recycling throughout our factory. So reviewing the action plan for this implementation, at the end of this year, we'll begin with coordinating with the suppliers, also working through contract negotiation to be able to talk about the kinds of cost reductions that Boeing could realize by moving towards a roadable shipping container, and as well as talk about the investments that will come with making that change. Later in the year, we will develop a container and insert prototype and then begin testing that in the supply chain. After that, we'll be able to manufacture our final container and insert design, and then after putting that into action, we can monitor results and improvements. So starting out with job mapping to really understand the task at hand, which is to develop a rotatable shipping container and the process to rotate those between our supplier and our shop. So I broke this up pretty simply into 4 different steps. Beginning at the supplier, their job is really to kit the parts. Their expected outcome statements from that is that they will visually be able to easily kit the parts for shipment, and that they'll have a simple and fast, repeatable method of packing. Then they will ship the container. Next, we'll receive that and the customer will unpack the container. Our outcome statements for that step are that all of our expected parts arrive in our container and that our parts are not damaged during the shipment process. Last, the customer will return the container to our supplier. And outcome statements from that is that we don't waste time breaking down boxes and disposing of containers and packing supplies, and that the process to return the containers is easily understood. So for us specifically, step 3, where we are unpacking our containers, that was really an area of concern because that helps fix one of our main problems, is that we are often receiving parts damage from suppliers, which causes, of course, a lot of cost and wasted time in having to reorder damaged parts. So moving from the job mapping exercise to voice of the customer. Using the voice of the customer effectively to guide product design thinking, similar to the clinic design experience that we looked at during the course. One of what I felt the most important actions that design team took, and what we must do for this change initiative, is to use data that we've gathered through interviews to really understand the opportunities and root cause of our problem at hand. Once we identify an opportunity through voice of the customer, this new product will provide a solution to our internal customers on the production floor. So really starting with research and talking to our supplier to identify implementation roadblocks, also doing a Gemba, really a go and see of our supplier's packing process internally, observing our internal processes where we are unpacking and also taking down boxes, and then working to identify challenges both internal and externally. Next, as I mentioned, understanding the data. So really looking at waste data, dunnage, cycle time associated with breaking down boxes and looking for parts throughout the day, and then also understanding our flow time data. And last, really working to define that problem. So based on our research, our waste data, while identifying an opportunity through voice of the customer, we're able to create a product that provides solutions to the problem at hand. So in this exercise, I created a Pug matrix to really start to identify possible prototypes and alternatives to our current standard, which is using cardboard boxes. So I came up with 4 different areas for criteria, looking at how durable a container is, if it's lightweight or not, how well it protects the part, and also the ease of use for not only customers internal to our shop, but also suppliers. Each of these have a weighted score based on what I felt was the most important criteria for our prototype, and then 3 different alternatives. First, we have our item-specific container that is a very thick hard plastic and then uses traditional packing methods such as bubble wrap and paper. Next, we have our generic tote with an insert. This would be lighter standard plastic, and then also a foam insert where parts would fit specifically within the insert. And then last, our shipping boxes made out of your standard cardboard. So these are all graded from a scale of 1 to 3, and then using the weights, you can see that the moving forward product is our generic tote with a foam insert. So going through the Pug matrix, that really worked to help me identify which solution met all of our criteria. Also helping us compare alternate proposals against the current standard, allowing us to make smarter decisions about our investments that will add value to our business. So going through and working with different prototypes after we've ironed out what alternative to go with. So you can see the current state with paper boxes and then our final prototype that we decided to go with. So this, as I mentioned, is our standard plastic container. So these can be reused easily throughout the supply chain. They're not part specific, so it really reduces a lot of complexity. And then you can see our container inserts made out of foam that make parts visually really easy to identify for both the supplier and also in shop, and then are well protective for the parts. So next, moving into required funding for this initiative. So starting with the testing phase, we don't want to go too big, so we're going to start out with 50 containers that we can rotate between us and our supplier. These containers at $50 each will put us at $2,500. We also are looking at costs for our inserts, $750, as well as the labeling and embossing parts for our foam. And then last, the labor required for 2 employees to really set up all of these foam inserts and get them ready to be used in testing. Right, and then that is it for my final project pitch. Hope you enjoyed my pitch. I'm really excited to start to implement some of these different circular economic thinking as well as sustainability into my own workplace, as well as start to educate employees as well as peers about sustainability and how each of us really has a part in trying to change the mindset away from waste to reusing while preserving all of the Earth's natural resources. Had a great term, and thanks so much.